at Auburn Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
WSFA TV 12 Montgomery.
From Alabama's News Center, an expanded one-hour edition of the 6 o'clock report with Bob Howell, Dan Atkinson, and Phil Snow. And as a part of our 25th anniversary celebration, return appearances by former anchorman Charles Caton and former weatherman Ralph Williams.
Good evening. Montgomery police are expanding an investigation into the case of a Montgomery couple charged with child abuse and molestation. Tonight, Norman Lumpkin says that sources have told him the police have in their possession hundreds of photographs showing Johnny and Dorothy Danley, their children, and other adults engaged in numerous sexual acts.
Our sources say police have at least 200 photos showing numerous sexual acts. Investigators are said by our sources to be trying to identify other adults in photos with the Danleys' 12-year-old daughter and 15-year-old son. Assistant Montgomery County District Attorney Jimmy Poole is in charge of the investigation.
There are some Polaroid photographs involved, and there are some photographs of some people that are yet unidentified. And where in the community those people reside, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they reside out near Pine Brook or in another section of the community where these people lived before, but we're certainly going to look into that.
Montgomery attorney Walter Chandler is the lawyer for the Danleys.
I have been apprised that the state has, or at least allegedly has, some photographs. Now, how many there are and what they're of, I'm not prepared to go into at this time and wouldn't discuss it. That's something that we'll find out, and we'll find out what the state has and what evidence they do in fact have at a later date.
Have you discussed pleadings with the Danleys?
No.
The Danleys have resigned from their jobs with the state. She worked for the Revenue Department and he worked for the Finance Department as a ground supervisor. They both remain in the Montgomery County Jail under $50,000 bond. This is Norman Lumpkin, WSFA TV News at the Montgomery County Courthouse.
It may be hard to believe, but every 2 minutes a child is abused by one of its parents, and our community is no exception. Reported cases of child abuse here are on the increase, but help is on the way for both the victim and the abuser in the form of a Sunshine House. A campaign to build the facility is now underway with the blessings of Mayor Emery Falmer.
Members of the Child Abuse and Neglect Center announced today the beginning of a campaign to open the Sunshine Center, a unique facility that will provide services to abusing and neglectful families in the four-county area.
It is a tragedy that in the community that we live in, that there is indeed a need for such a facility as this to deal with child abuse and child neglect. We would hope and pray that through an education process that we can work our way out of a job.
Those words probably best sum up the hopes and expectations of backers of the proposed center. Family Court Judge John Davis calls it a last-ditch effort to teach the community about child abuse. Mary Wisdom, Executive Director of the Montgomery Area Child Abuse and Neglect Center, was optimistic a 24-hour emergency phone line would be operating by next March, with the full-scale facility ready in September. Children aren't a plentiful and expendable resource, Wisdom said, and she cited the Sunshine Center as the most effective way to educate a community about the prevention of child abuse. Sydney Kohara, WSFA TV News.
About a month ago, after Montgomery police officers shot a local woman in what was ruled self-defense, several members of the city council decided to conduct their own investigation of the shooting. Tonight, Lisa Nielsen follows up on that announcement to see where the unofficial investigation stands.
On November 14th, a domestic dispute brought police officers to 201 South Boulevard. They separated a fighting couple, and then Officer Frank Mitchell says the woman loved May Loss and charged him with a knife. Acting in what he calls self-defense, Mitchell shot her in the face. Mayor Emery Falmer requested an investigation, and the grand jury decided Officer Mitchell acted professionally and in the line of duty. District 6 Councilman Donald Watkins and 3 other councilmen said the investigation wasn't thorough enough, and they announced they would conduct their own unofficial probe. At first, Watkins says police and city officials cooperated with him. Now he says that cooperation has run dry. The mayor has refused a request for a copy of Officer Mitchell's personnel file. Mayor Falmer says as far as he's concerned, the case is closed, and he says if Watkins' self-appointed committee wants information, it'll have to go to court to get it. Watkins says he just might do that. Watkins' group is looking at more than just one charge of police brutality. It's examining several reports. He said such charges should be investigated by a police review board, but several times the council has turned down resolutions to create one. Watkins admits that even though his group has no authority, it is acting as a police review board. He says if Officer Mitchell's case goes to court, it will be some time before his group completes its study and releases its findings. Lisa Nielsen, WSFA TV News at Montgomery City Hall.
The federal government is trying to do something to help Alabama's law enforcement planning agency get in line for federal grants. They're doing it by reducing the amount of paperwork required for the grants.
Congress is currently cleaning up the Justice System Improvement Act in a conference committee. Bo Davis, executive director of the Alabama Law Enforcement Planning Agency, told his Board of Supervisors the new act will mean a lot to Alabama. Aside from the relief from paperwork, Davis says the new act will eliminate the requirement that states provide 5% of matching funds. In addition, assumption of program cost by states can be avoided if the state can show a hardship, such as a low tax base. Davis also discussed the upcoming budget. Nationally, the Law Enforcement Assistance Administration has a budget of $486 million, down from $541 million last year. Alabama's share of the money this year is just over $4 million, plus additional money for planning and juvenile programs, for a total of $5.6 million. Davis says his agency still plans to ask the legislature for $750,000. Dennis Latham, WSFA TV News.
The holiday season is a good time of year to enjoy the foods you like best. So shop Winn-Dixie and make a fancy pork chop dish with Pinky Pig pork. Buy a 7 to 14 pound whole or rib half pork loin at just 99 cents a pound and save 50 cents a pound.
Then take home Harvest Fresh Florida oranges in a 5-pound bag for only 99 cents and save 20 cents more.
Plus, a 49-ounce box of Tide detergent is yours for $1.09. Save another 40 cents at Winn-Dixie.
Money-saving coupons, fun facts, pictures to color. You get it all in the all-new 1980 Ronald McDonald Coloring Calendar. 12 months worth of money-saving coupons on your favorite McDonald's food.
Great savings.
Plus 12 months of fun facts and fun pictures of Ronald for the kids to color.
This is fun!
Hurry for your 1980 Coloring Calendar. Available now at participating McDonald's while supplies last.
Breaker 19, this is Sterling Brewmaster. How do I get on that Interstate 64?
Hey, Brewmaster, you trucking Sterling beer?
That's a Big 10-4.
Brewmaster, you just got a front door. Imagine, Sterling's here now.
Breaker 19, you said Sterling's here?
Sterling, still brewed with fresh natural ingredients and full natural aging with no shortcuts. And when you brew a beer this good, you just naturally build a following. Sterling, now in 14 states and still growing.
There's more opposition tonight to the proposed Metropolitan University system for Montgomery, this time from the Association of Black College Alumni. Michael Jones has more from the Capitol.
The Association of Black College Alumni voiced its opposition to a Metropolitan University system. Montgomery attorney Vanzetta Penn Durant spoke for the group. She says the Metro system would not be fair to the schools or their students, and any duplication of curriculum is not by the black schools.
It goes without saying that the creation of schools of education in the essentially white universities in Huntsville and Montgomery, the creation of schools of arts and sciences, the creation of athletic teams, the creation of counseling services, the creation and the equipping of a library, the building of a campus is itself a duplication.
The recommendation made at today's news conference is identical to those made yesterday at the Alabama State University Board of Trustees meeting, that AUM and Troy State of Montgomery be absolved into Alabama State University. Michael Jones, WSFA TV News at the Capitol.
And State School Superintendent Wayne Teague wants to cut 20% from the State Department of Education's budget. Teague says that the move will save more than $3.5 million a year. Most of the cut will come from not filling job openings when they occur and by cutting back on travel expenses. All of this activity is linked to the state's 1980 budget. Dennis Latham, who covers the state government beat, has an analytical look at what's likely to happen with education in the budget ahead.
The upcoming budget process is very important to the Fob James administration for two reasons. First, this is James' first budget, and no doubt he wants to do a good job. Second, the economy is, as some experts have put it, distorted. Dealing with an unstable economy and inflation is enough to keep even the most seasoned budget maker busy. Education, and particularly higher education, is an area the administration apparently feels strongly about, especially when it comes to money. Finance Director John Papanastis and Financial Advisor David Bronner both say that the executive branch must know what resources higher education has before the governor can make intelligent budget recommendations to the legislature. Papanastis says the executive and legislative budget hearings will serve as a forum for the administration to extract information from colleges and universities that has not been asked for in the past. The bottom line is full financial disclosure to the governor, not necessarily for the pursuit of criminal charges, but rather to place the budget process in a posture so that the state's money can be spent wisely. A high administration official says they don't expect it to be an easy task. Dennis Latham, WSFA TV News at the Capitol.
The legislature's Sunset Committee has voted to abolish the State Mental Health Board, but the committee decided to continue several other health agencies: the Board of Health, the Committee on Public Health, the Radiation Control Agency, the Health Coordinating Council, and the State Health Planning and Development Agency. Tonight, Bob Ingram talks with a Montgomery resident who has some first-hand insight into the current crisis in Iran. He's retired U.S. Ambassador John Walsh, who at one time had been a special assistant at the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. Walsh and Ingram talked one-on-one.
Mr. Ambassador, tonight the phone at your home here in Montgomery, where you've retired, rings. It's the President calling. He says, John, you've been there, you know the people, you know the country in Iran. What should I do that I'm not doing?
Hold on the present course, Mr. President. You're doing all the things that are right. You have to speed up the pace, though, because time is beginning to waste. We'll have to accelerate the pressures, Mr. President.
But I detected a note of a complimentary note. You feel then on the old scale of 1 to 10 that he's doing a pretty good job?
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, I have no additional statements for him or advice for him up to this point, except perhaps that have been a little bit better if we moved a little bit faster. But that's not always feasible to do because there's so many countries involved. We have about 150 countries on our side in this bout.
Is the criticism justified at all that the President, the State Department, someone in Washington in command should have anticipated what might happen and perhaps taken the Americans out of Tehran before the takeover?
I think that's a legitimate criticism, yes. The reason why it didn't occur was pretty valid. We were trying to support a government there, the Bazargan government. We had all types of assurances from them that they would defend the embassy. But in retrospect, at least, that wasn't good enough. No, I think that that embassy should have been closed about 6 months ago.
And all of this would have been avoided?
Well, there would have been other troubles with Iran, for sure. And there still would be American citizens in Iran.
You've indicated that there's some other steps that you feel perhaps this country should take, the President should take, a get-tough attitude toward Iran, economic sanctions, this sort of thing.
Yes. And we're in the process, or he's in the process of doing that at the present time. And the responses apparently are favorable from our European allies. They, up to now, they've provided us with very substantial support, but it's largely been surface support. And now we're all going to have to tighten the economic-type sanctions, financial, trade, and also services. That would suggest it's time to bring air transport to and from Iran down to an absolute minimum level. Emergency-type flights.
Knowing the people of Iran, knowing the situation, how volatile it is, what do you feel that eventually the 50 Americans will be released?
That's a very difficult question. I certainly hope so, naturally, and I think so. But I don't necessarily believe that. I think so. I think the condition of the hostages is deteriorating. I'm curious about the condition of the people who are holding them. I suspect that's deteriorating too. And I know that the total overall condition of the country is deteriorating badly.
One final question, sir. This week, NBC, the network that this station is affiliated, broadcast an interview which has created a tempest in Washington, all over the country. Your quick, one-word reaction to that interview.
Despicable.
Why, sir?
It put an American citizen into an absolutely hopeless position, the prisoner. The questions that were asked him, he was dragooned in there, and he was in a most delicate spot, and we don't know what is happening to him today.
Thank you so much, sir, for being our guest this evening.
Pleasure.
Coming up next, the forgotten sports arena.
1973, the Sting won the Academy Award. Gas cost 39 cents, and you could drive the family car for about 3.5 cents a mile. Today, despite gas prices of over $1, Datsun family cars reduce your cost per mile to 2.5 cents, 33% less than 73. The 510's revolutionary NAPZ engine deliver incredible fuel economy. Take the Sting out of today's gas prices. The 510's 1980 styling, performance, and economy. They're at your Central Alabama Datsun dealers.
Maybe someday, all watches will be made with the incredible slimness, the incredible accuracy of the new Seiko ultra-thin dress quartz collection for men. There are thinner-than-ever calendar styles with rich bracelets and slim classic looks with elegant leather straps. Today, these extraordinary quartz watches are made by Seiko. Maybe someday, all watches will be made this way.
Available at Klein & Son, downtown and Eastdale Mall.
Christmas fun begins at Sears with super savings. Save $30 on this fantastic Silver Arrow Fun Cart with 3-horsepower engine, rugged welded steel frame, and direct action steering. Now only $299.99. Other fun carts also on sale. Save up to $100. Sears Off the Road mini bike has 3-horsepower engine, foam padded seat, mag style wheels. On sale now for only $229.95. You save $20. Save now on Christmas fun at a Sears retail store near you.
Well, Philip, Montgomery's Garrett Coliseum has seen a lot of events over the last year, since I guess back in the 50s when it was built, but an unusual one is back tonight.
Yeah, it's been a long time since basketball has been played out there. Alabama State plays Tuskegee Institute tonight in something of an historic confrontation. The two schools are renewing a rivalry that has lain dormant for 5 years now, and they are playing in an arena that hasn't seen a basketball game in a long time. Fred Albers has a report.
Garrett Coliseum usually houses such exhibitions as state fairs or horse shows, but tonight the Coliseum will be rocking to basketball, Alabama State versus Tuskegee. It's been a long time since major college basketball has been played in the Coliseum. However, during the 50s, Alabama and Auburn annually played to sellout crowds. But it's been 20 years since round ball was played in the Coliseum, and the absence has left some problems. Coach James Oliver says his team worked out here at the Coliseum yesterday. He reports the basketball court is rather bumpy, but that's not the major problem. He says they measured the eastern backboard, and it measured 10 feet 3 inches instead of the usual 10 feet. However, Coliseum officials say that problem has been corrected. But there is another interesting aspect to tonight's ballgame, the fans. Coach, Tuskegee is such a great rivalry with Alabama State, but last time the two teams played, it got a little too intense.
Well, Fred, that's true. I wasn't here at the time, and I don't think the present coach at Tuskegee was here. Most of those players have gone on, and I understand that they had a free fall. And, you know, when you get rivals and you get intense and they're really close together as they would be here in Dunn Arena or at Tuskegee, you know, anything can happen. You know, you can get the rubbing shoulders and the tension can break out. But playing at Garrett Coliseum, I think, is going to help that part of it. And rivals are good now, as long as they're good rivals. But I don't, you know, particularly care for, you know, people getting so emotional, you know, where win or lose it will cause a ruckus.
There is one more aspect to tonight's ball game that is noteworthy. Coach James Oliver has 99 victories as a college coach. If he should beat Tuskegee tonight, it would mark victory number 100. It should be an interesting night of basketball in Garrett Coliseum. Fred Albers, WSFA TV Sports.
When we come back for the sports segment a little later, a telephone conversation with Auburn coach Sonny Smith just before the Tigers are to take the court against Tennessee in Knoxville. And that's it, Bob.
Thank you, Philip. It was 3 months ago today, September 12th, that Hurricane Frederick pounded the Alabama coastline. There was massive damage, including a total loss of power and water service. Today, almost all of the services affected have been restored. As we see in Chris Grimshaw's update on Frederick, the economic conditions on the Gulf Coast are good.
Looking down on the port city of Mobile, it's hard to realize a hurricane had come very close to obliterating it just 3 months ago. The streets are bustling with cars, and the downtown area is filled with shoppers.
The explanation is that business is booming in Mobile. Never before have we had so many roof jobs being done at one time. That means added supplies are sold and so forth and so on.
While repair and renovation dollars are rolling into the city, the local government is getting its share and revenues are looking good. Greenhouse says the city has excellent insurance coverage for its losses, and there's also federal aid. But all good things must come to an end, and when repairs slow down, so will revenue income. But Greenhouse says city officials have considered this.
Well, obviously in the short run they are beneficial. That may be misleading because it may give you a cliff effect with a dramatic downturn. But as of right now, we don't see any long-range negative impact.
Just because money is good doesn't mean the city is back to normal. Everywhere you look, there are reminders of September 12th, reminders of how awesome the damage was. The timber industry was devastated. Multi-million-dollar losses in Baldwin, Mobile, Washington, and other counties total at least $333 million in overall timber loss. This could represent a Gulf area timber crop for the next several years. This in a state where the timber cut each year is valued at $225 million. Work at Mobile's international dock system is just now returning to normal operation after the repair of over $40 million worth of damage. Docks officials say Frederick's scars will be felt for generations. Those few hundred people who live on Dauphin Island are still without a permanent bridge. The ferry Mount Marcy, contracted by the state to transport people to and from the island, sits idle, waiting for a channel of waterways to the island to be dredged. In the meantime, people are being hauled in military landing crafts. Officials say the Dauphin Island homeowners are being patient, though. The view is totally different now than it was 3 months ago, and so is the outlook for the small businessmen, like shrimpers who suffered millions in dollars of losses to their fleets. Hurricane Frederick left an impression on just about every resident down here.
In a couple of more weeks, it'll be Christmas and an opportunity for a lot of the people of this city to get over Hurricane Frederick and start fresh. But there are many psychologists who are afraid that there'll be a larger than normal number of people who will go through the Christmas season very sad. They're the people who are prone to depression anyway, usually because they're alone. But now they'll have the added ravages of Hurricane Frederick. The damages still must be repaired, the bills keep coming in, and the losses are still being felt. But for the most part, it'll be an opportunity for a majority of the people of this city to start fresh with Christmas.
Most of the heavy work has been done, and people can relax a little and enjoy a Sunday afternoon rugby game. Banville Park is seeing more people enjoy the shade, play with the squirrels, and notice that they too are eating a little better these days. In Gulf Shores, however, the story is a little different. Some of the worst damage occurred here. This is a scene of Gulf Shores immediately after Hurricane Frederick. Now the same street 3 months later. Little has changed. Sand still covers most yards.
While the people of Gulf Shores have had 3 months to recuperate since Hurricane Frederick slammed into the area, many of the people are just now finding the time and the money to dig out of the sand and try and rebuild their homes.
Gulf Shores represents one of the largest losses to the state's tourism industry. Tourism is also important to Mobile. The battleship USS Alabama has just reopened for business.
About tourism in the city, how does its forecast look?
Well, it's really impossible for us to assess it at this point. This is not our peak season, and of course Bellingraph Gardens is out of commission, and no one really knows what the forecast is there.
The city of Mobile has almost completely bounced back from the effects of Hurricane Frederick. But while the short-term effects are good, the long-term effects have many more problems. Problems that Mayor Greenhouse says the city will face as they come up. In Mobile, Chris Grimshaw, WSFA TV News.
Chris is with us in the studio tonight. And Chris, what about those long-term effects for Mobile?
Well, the most important long-term effect will be the cash flow. The artificially high cash flow right now as a result of the hurricane. They'll have to watch that because it will drop off. Other things they need to watch out for are long-term effects to building conditions that they might not see right now.
A lot of people travel to the Mobile area. What's the status on vacationing in Mobile?
Not too bad right now, as long as people call ahead. It's not the peak season. A lot of the motels are closed, but those that are open, as long as you get a reservation.
Great. Thanks, Chris. Good report. When severe weather is likely, the warnings are passed along to you, the public, in a variety of ways. Each Each has some advantages, but some disadvantages too. Tonight on Weather Beat, Dan Atkinson looks at the system that gives you the word directly from the National Weather Service.
Sirens can signal the approach of a storm anytime, day or night, but they can't be heard everywhere. Broadcast stations can tell you, and in the case of TV, can show you where a storm is and where it's heading. But few stations are on the air round the clock unless stormy weather is anticipated, and some severe weather pops up unexpectedly in the middle of the night. The National Weather Service hopes it's complementing these other warning systems and perhaps plugging a loophole or two by broadcasting weather bulletins directly from their own local offices through a service called NOAA Weather Radio. NOAA stands for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, of which the Weather Service is a part. NOAA Weather Radio is on the air 24 hours a day, routinely providing forecasts and other general weather information. But during periods of severe weather, the routine schedule can be interrupted and warnings given top priority. A disadvantage of NOAA Weather Radio is the fact that you can only hear it on special receivers. Just any radio won't do. But these high-band FM receivers are readily available at most radio dealers with prices ranging from under $20 to more than $70. The real advantage of NOAA Weather Radio is the fact that many receiver models include alarm devices which can be activated by the Weather Service when a warning is about to be broadcast. This model, for instance, can be left on with the volume down, and a special signal from the Weather Service will trigger this sound. That should get you out of bed, at which point you can turn the volume up and hear the message. Other models, such as this one, are designed so the Weather Service signal will first sound an alarm, then turn the sound up for you. Finally, a reminder that all weather warning systems depend for their success and your safety upon the attentiveness at the end of the line which only you can supply. If you stay close to sources of accurate information during bad weather and stay alert for rapidly changing weather conditions where you are, you'll be more prepared to protect yourself when a dangerous storm comes, with warning or without. I'm Dan Atkinson with Weather Beat.
Still ahead tonight, some special visitors from Channel 12's past. A look at how some consumers are ripping off the gas company. And we'll find out why the emergency room may be the wrong place for you. Also, we'll meet some helpful people on the city streets.
As the world's largest jeweler, Zales has enough diamonds and gold to please many different women. Brilliant diamond rings, dramatic watches, stunning diamond earrings, necklaces, pendants. As the world's largest jeweler, Zales can please many different women, even if those many different women are all within you.
No one knows more than the diamond store, Zales.
The unmistakable beauty of real gold. Solid 14-karat gold jewelry from Southern Bank. Crafted in Italy and yours free or at special low prices with a qualifying savings deposit. Choose from an exciting collection of elegant designs. Fine gold bracelets, earrings and stick pins, and lovely gold chains in a variety of lengths and styles. Start saving now and get beautiful solid 14-karat gold jewelry at Southern Bank so you can feel rich while you get richer.
Suddenly, being an all-natural ice cream isn't enough, because suddenly someone has blended 100% all-natural ingredients to create an unbelievable ice cream taste. Rich and creamy brand ice cream. You taste real richness created by a deep blending of sweet cream with luscious all-natural ingredients. Taste all the blends of rich and creamy brand ice cream, and suddenly being all-natural isn't enough.
In conjunction with our 25th anniversary celebration this month, we've asked a couple of familiar faces back on our newscast tonight. One of them is Ralph Williams, and Ralph for many years was the weatherman here at Channel 12, and welcome back to our program, Ralph.
Hey, thanks, Bob. It's sure good to be here. The setting's changed a little, but it's nice.
Well, it's really a pleasure for us, and you're going to be handling the national weather, and Dan, you're going to be checking on the radar and the local conditions.
Right. We might, before we kick the weather off, find out where you are now. Of course, most of us in the television business in Alabama know where you go. Where are you right now, though?
I'm in Selma, and Channel 8 in Selma. And we still do a little weather. We do it with a little squeeze bottle.
You know, I had to retire that after I came.
Yeah, the fronts sometimes move on you.
I never knew how you learned to write backwards.
It's hard.
I can imagine it is.
Well, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to slip over and prepare for the satellite picture.
Good. And Ralph, what's the national weather picture looking like tonight?
Bob, there's a cold front that drops out of Canada through the western part of New York. It's just now entering Alabama, the northwestern corner of the state, and moves on down along coastal Texas and ends in a low-pressure area in Mexico. This front, of course, is the dividing line between two contraries, two contrasting air masses. The one to the east is warmer. The one to the west is much colder. Warm southerly winds have been streaming northward to the east of this frontal system today, and here in Alabama brought temperatures in the mid-70s as far north as Tuscaloosa. But the cold front moving southeastward will bring an end to that warm weather. Colder air moving into the state tonight in North Alabama. Temperatures will drop from the 60s of this afternoon to 40 degrees by tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow, the temperatures will change over the central section of the state as the colder air moves there. And then the frontal system will be in southeast Alabama and colder air moving into that section tomorrow night. The center of the cold air now, a large Arctic air mass, is over Iowa in the upper Midwest, and it covers a rather large area. Temperatures were quite cold during the afternoon. At mid-afternoon, the coldest spot reporting was International Falls, Minnesota. The temperature there at that hour was 3 degrees. Contrasting, though, the warmest spot, actually there were several of them, and all on the west coast of Florida, 82-degree readings, Tampa, Florida, at McDill Field, and also at Fort Myers. And now Dan will show us a picture, a satellite picture, and how some of these weather systems are affecting our national weather.
Thank you, Ralph, and welcome back. On TV 12 satellite picture of the nation's weather, there were some reports of strong winds today in the mountain passes of southern California. Also west of the Rockies, snow extended from the northern Idaho Panhandle into western Montana. There was some light snow scattered across Michigan, with rain and drizzle reaching all the way from the lower Great Lakes right on down into the southern plains. Some of that rain and drizzle has been freezing during the day in parts of northern Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. There's been some heavy rain in southeastern Texas. Bronson, Texas received about 5 1/4 inches of rain in around 8 hours today, and a flash flood watch is in effect now for southeast Texas. You can see the cloudiness that began moving into Alabama today. We have had a few showers, mainly in the northwestern part of the state, and that continues to be the situation. Let's see what's happening now through TV 12's color radar, scanning at this time from Centerville, showing patches of light rain in the northwestern part of the state, generally west of a line from Huntsville down to Meridian. The precipitation is moving to the northeast at about 35 miles per hour. Here are some 6 o'clock temperatures now. Huntsville reporting 61. It's 68 in Birmingham, also in Tuscaloosa 68, 64 in Alex City, 67 degrees now in Union Springs and Greenville, Enterprise reporting 70, and Ozark 69. At Montgomery's Danley Field, skies are cloudy. The temperature is 19 Celsius or 66 Fahrenheit. Our low this morning was 53, today's high 78. Winds are southwesterly, relative humidity 68%. The barometer is rising and we've had no rain. Montgomery's record low for this date was 17 degrees, set back in 1957. Our warmest, December 12th on record, was in 1971 when we topped out at 82 degrees. Rainfall so far this month at Danley Field, about 1.5 inches, which makes the total so far this year 51.71 inches or 4.89 inches above normal. At 7 this morning, the level of Lake Martin was down by 2/10 of a foot from yesterday at the same hour, reading 479.9. Lake Jordan down 4/10 from yesterday. Sunrise Thursday will occur at 6:38, sun setting at 4:42. And the forecast calls for mostly cloudy weather with a 50% chance of showers for the Montgomery area tonight. Southerly winds with a low near 60. Thursday and Thursday night, rain and a few thunder showers. The probability is 80% tomorrow, 60% tomorrow night. The high tomorrow in the mid-60s, the low Thursday night in the mid-40s. And Friday, rain ending with a high in the mid-50s. That's it, Bob.
Thanks, Dan. And Ralph, you have not lost the touch, and we're glad you could be with us tonight. When we come back, Norman Lumpkin will show us how you can get hurt trying to steal from the gas company.
The holiday season is a good time of year to enjoy the foods you like best. So shop Winn-Dixie and make a fancy pork chop dish with Pinky Pig pork. Buy a 7 to 14 pound whole or rib half pork loin at just 99 cents a pound and save 50 cents a pound.
Then take home Harvest Fresh Florida oranges in a 5-pound bag for only 99 cents and save 20 cents more.
Plus, a 49-ounce box of Tide detergent is yours for $1.09. Save another 40 cents at Winn-Dixie.
This Christmas, go practical. Give gifts the whole family can use. Shoe City has a large selection of quality men's, women's, and children's boots that are sure to bring smiles to your loved ones on Christmas. And the savings will help you stretch that holiday budget. From rugged all-purpose boots to dress boots, Shoe City offers a wide variety of styles and colors to suit almost any occasion. So this year, boot inflation and do your Christmas shopping at a Shoe City store conveniently located near you.
Sure, I love Crystal hamburgers, but today, I'm having the chili.
Crystal chili with a special quality. The same great tasting difference as Crystal hamburgers.
Crystal chili? I didn't know that.
You won't till you dig into a bowl of Crystal chili, plump beans, and a meaty sauce seasoned just right.
Crystal chili?
Crystal chili. Enjoy a big hearty bowl today at a price you can afford with a difference you can taste.
Tasty, tasty, Crystal chili. Today at Crystal, it's a chili day.
Tonight, in the second of his special assignment reports on consumer utility ripoffs, Norman Lumpkin looks at the problems faced by the gas company. Norman?
Stealing natural gas, Bob, is against the law. But it's much more than that. It's dangerous and might get you killed. You mess around with this, there's a good chance you'll get blown up. And that's what's got gas company officials worried.
With the way utility prices are going up every year, a lot of people are trying to find means to cut down on their power bills. Alabama Gas Corporation spokesman Jim Alderman says some people are using illegal means to do that.
But gas company officials don't want to talk about how. They don't want to take the chance of giving anyone the idea it might be easy.
Our first concern, of course, is the safety. There is a significant safety hazard involved in tampering with gas equipment by an untrained or unauthorized individual. Now, as you realize, it is a violation of state law to tamper with gas equipment or to use gas without paying for it. So what we do, we monitor our system very closely. We take security measures to ensure the integrity and the safety of our system. And if we do find a customer is stealing gas, then what we do is make a reasonable estimate of the amount of usage during the period of theft. We bill him for that, and he must pay for it. Additionally, we may report it to the local police or fire department based on the various codes within the different communities in which we serve, and let them take whatever action that they deem necessary. And of course, the company also has the option of taking legal action against the individual.
Has Alagasco done this in the past?
It has not been necessary.
Most folks kind of pay up, isn't it?
Well, like I say, Norman, to put it in perspective, it's a very, very small percent. And we do monitor the system closely. One of the things that does happen, for example, let's take a neighbor that's living just across the street. He's paying his gas bill, and he sees someone tampering with a meter. He resents that because he realizes he's paying his bill, and he doesn't want to have to pay for somebody else's gas.
Okay.
He also recognizes that it's a safety hazard to tamper with that gas. Now, someone who is tampering with a gas meter that doesn't know what he's doing not only poses a hazard to himself, but to his family and to his children and even to his neighbors. So we monitor it very closely.
You have a lot of people calling in saying, hey, Joe Blow here's...
Well, some people are reported that way, but generally we catch customers either by, well, various reasons, which I'd prefer not to go into the details of, but generally what happens is an employee notices an unusual situation, or a neighbor spots it and will report it to the company. But our primary concern is from a safety aspect. It is dangerous for an individual to tamper with gas equipment. It can result in a fire, explosion, damage to his property, and may even result in injuries to his family and to his children.
During our conversation, Alderman emphasized and re-emphasized the danger of tampering with gas meters. So stealing gas may save a little money, but it could also get you killed. This is Norman Lumpkin, WSFA TV News on special assignment.
A state grand jury investigating PSC Commission President Juanita McDaniel is talking to officials of a telephone company that got a $2.5 million rate increase this week. 2 company officials have already appeared before the grand jury here in Montgomery. Bob Ingram has some additional thoughts on that rate hike and Mrs. McDaniel's part in it in tonight's editorial.
I'm not sure, but I think it was Phil Snow, our splendid man from the world of sports, who came up with this very profound observation about making predictions. As best as I recall, Phil put it this way, and I quote, "Forecasting is very difficult, especially if it's about the future." You're so right, Phil. But difficult though it may be, here we go with a forecast of our own. Our prediction is this. The Alabama Public Service Commission, as we know it today, 3 members elected by the people, has entered its final days. To borrow that old punchline, the people of Alabama have enjoyed about all of the PSC they can stand, and their feelings will surely be reflected at the next session of the Alabama legislature. And when the obituary is written for the PSC, one of the causes of death will surely be self-inflicted wounds. For an example of what we speak, look back no further than Monday of this week. The PSC met for the announced purpose of considering a rate increase for Roanoke Telephone Company. The request was turned down, and with nothing else on the agenda, the news media and other spectators departed, but the members of the PSC didn't depart. Without any notice, the Commission approved a small rate increase for Raglan Telephone Company and a $2.6 million rate increase for Continental Telephone Company. Both were approved even though the PSC's own staff had not completed its routine investigation to determine if the higher rates were justified. And in what was the most incredible scene in this drama, Mrs. Juanita McDaniel, president of the PSC, saw fit to describe the increases as early Christmas presents for the utilities. We were not aware that in her final weeks in office, she was authorized to play the role of Santa Claus with somebody else's money. Reiterating the point we made earlier, the legislature can no longer ignore the demands of the people for the abolition of the PSC. There simply has to be a better way to regulate our utilities. Bob?
Thanks, Bob. Wayne Eugene Ritter won't die in Alabama's electric chair on Friday. The U.S. Supreme Court today temporarily delayed his execution after an appeal was filed on his behalf by the Southern Poverty Law Center here in Montgomery. Ritter was convicted along with John Lewis Evans III for killing a Mobile pawn shop owner as the victim's 2 young daughters looked on. And the State Court of Criminal Appeals has agreed to hear arguments tomorrow morning on a request to stop the prosecution of former FBI informant Gary Thomas Rowe. Rowe is currently fighting extradition to Alabama to face murder charges in the 1965 death of civil rights worker Viola Liuzzo.
Well, as far as we're concerned, Greyhound is absolutely fantastic. It really is. It's
more and more people are going Greyhound, and for good reasons.
The people that work for Greyhound have been great.
I expected to be uncomfortable and bumpy, but it was comfortable. I slept most of the way. I was really comfortable.
There are always people to talk to. The scenery is beautiful.
I'm ready to go by bus. Lead it driving up to them.
Go Greyhound at your convenience to Atlanta. 8 trips daily.
Right now at Harco Drug, it's wall-to-wall Christmas because you can light up your tree for your neighbor to see, let him smoke up your life, or mix up your wife. You can watch what you give or just give her watch, make her smell sweet or give her sweet things to eat, film for your camera or camera for your film that's back in a flash or you owe us no cash, toys for the tots and for those who are not, lots more that is nice, and so is the price. Harco, no fuss, 'tis wall-to-wall Christmas.
Parisian, the Christmas store with more London Fog coats and jackets.
For him, the classic London Fog all-weather coat with zip-out lining.
And the all-time favorite, London Fog windbreaker at Parisian.
For her, zip-out lining, wash and wear London Fog coats, classic double-breasted and removable hood styles.
London Fog, great name, great gifts at Parisian, the Christmas store with more.
And more smiling faces to serve you.
One thing my Grandpa Quincy always insisted on was getting his money's worth. So at Quincy's Family Steakhouse, we've come out with a luncheon menu of great meals for only $1.99 each, including beverage. We call it the Quincy's lunch break. You'll call it the same thing Grandpa would have, getting your money's worth.
Well, Philip, no sooner out of football season than right into basketball season.
Here we go. The Auburn basketball team plays the University of Tennessee tonight in Knoxville. It's not a good time for the Tigers to go into Knoxville. They're coming off a bad trip, double losses in the Show Me Classic in Columbia, Missouri. They're struggling right now. We talked just a little while ago by phone with Coach Sonny Smith about tonight's foe.
We're going to have to stop the inside game of the Tennessee Volunteers. They have a great inside ball game. They have a very balanced attack, and we're going to have to be patient enough against their defense that I consider to be one of the best in the Southeastern Conference, and get good shots and get on the backboard with them if we're going to have a chance to play well.
Coach, you're concerned about your team. How has practice been this week?
Well, we're having a problem right now of stopping people with the good post players, and of course Tennessee has that here tonight. We spent a great deal of time on that. Defense is a team game as well as offense, and we've got to get our total team involved in stopping these great post people that we have to go up against, and tonight surely is one of those, and that's been our major emphasis this week, and we hope that we can take care of that a little bit better.
Tennessee is, of course, Knoxville an hour ahead of us. That game has started, and early in the first half of play, Tennessee leads Auburn 19-10. Top-ranked Indiana had a close call before beating Georgetown 76-69 last night in Bloomington, Indiana. Greg Gumbel with that story.
The top-ranked Hoosiers got 23 points from their big gun, Mike Woodson, last night, and then had to hold off stubborn Georgetown, who pulled to within one. Here on Eric Smith's basket, it was 52-51. But Woodson, with an excellent drive, made it a three-point lead at 57-54, and then freshman guard Isaiah Thomas went to work. The jumper for 2 of his 19 points, and then Thomas locked it up with the move inside. Indiana holding off 16th-ranked Georgetown 76-69.
It's the season for naming Players of the Year. 2 days ago, Martina Navratilova and Bjorn Borg were named the Tennis Players of the Year. Yesterday, affirmed the Horse of the Year. And today, Nancy Lopez named Woman Golfer of the Year by the Ladies Professional Golf Association. Second year in a row. Now, Nancy Lopez Melton, she married late last year. The 22-year-old star won $215,000 this year, winning 9 times, averaging 71.2 strokes per round. That's the lowest on the tour. In the 1967 Senior Bowl game, Ray Perkins, then a skinny All-American wideout at Alabama, caught a touchdown pass. Today, Perkins, coach of the New York Giants, was named to coach the South team in the January 12th All-Star game at Mobile's Ladd Stadium. He called his assignment a perfect opportunity to work with and evaluate the players with the college draft coming up a few weeks from now. Perkins says you learn a lot about the players on the practice field, and you learn a lot in those team meetings. 7 assistant football coaches at LSU will not be retained by new coach Bo Ryan. The assistants who worked for Charlie McClendon will be paid through the end of the fiscal year. Ryan will bring 6 assistants with him from North Carolina State. The New York Cosmos soccer team has drafted Don Ebert of Southern Illinois University. He is the #1 draft choice, a much sought-after forward in today's North American Soccer League player draft.
For the first time in North American Soccer League history, the league draft was held outside of New York City. The 1979 draft was held in sunny Tampa, Florida, and the top draft choice belonged to the New York Cosmos by way of a deal with Memphis. The Cosmos used the selection to grab forward Don Ebert of national champion Southern Illinois Edwardsville. Ebert, who is a junior, surrendered his final year of eligibility to enter the draft.
I just wanted to have the opportunity to try and improve myself. You know, we won a national title this year, and I had the opportunity. I knew to, go in the draft, and I just felt like my opportunity would be now, and if I went now, I might learn a lot more, and I just thought it'd be better for my soccer career if I went now instead of staying another year at SIU.
Ebert is also a member of the U.S. Olympic soccer team, and the Cosmos will sign him to an amateur contract so that he can keep his Olympic status. That means the Cosmos will pay his expenses, but no salary.
Oklahoma football players are apparently content to watch their Sooners play Florida State in the Orange Bowl on television. Some 2,500 Oklahoma tickets for the New Year's night game in Miami have been turned over to Florida State. Oklahoma's ticket manager says last year the university sold out its entire allotment of the game, but this year it's another story. And that's it.
Thank you, Philip. Coming up next, we'll have another 25th anniversary guest.
39. 39. May I check on traffic?
Hey, Stanhope is the way to look great this season for 25% less. Stanhope is the way to wear America's top sportswear for up to 40% below department store prices. Stanhope is the way to wear what you've always wanted for 25 to 60% below department store prices. Stanhope. Stanhope, famous brands for less. You never looked so good for so little. Shop Stanhope, famous brands for less, Montgomery.
Make this Christmas an Ethan Allen Christmas with the finest home furnishings from Country Manor, your Ethan Allen Gallery in Montgomery. Discover the gifts that never leave home in Country Manor's wide selection of furnishings and accessories for every room. And while you're browsing through the beautiful Country Manor showrooms, register free for your Christmas wish. The drawing is December 22nd. No purchase is necessary, and you don't have to be present to win. You'll find the gifts that never leave home at Country Manor, your Ethan Allen Gallery, 2001 Eastern Bypass in Montgomery.
Merry Christmas, Merry, Merry Christmas from your Kmart Christmas store.
Put some convenience into your gift giving this year with a kitchen appliance from Kmart. Choose a Proctor Silex steam and dry iron, or their 2-slice toaster, or how about Kmart's electric can opener, or the 3-speed hand mixer. They're all on sale now for just $9.37 each through Saturday at Kmart.
Christmas smiles light every face at Kmart's Christmas saving place.
At Red Lobster, we pay attention to every detail. That's what makes our seafood so special. Whether it's the proper seasonings for our stuffed shrimp or our light breading for those tender fillets, nothing is left to chance. Scallops, oysters, crab, lobster.
Another of our 25th anniversary guests tonight is Charles Keaton, a former news director here at Channel 12, a man who has sat in the studio for many nights. And Charles, it's a pleasure to have you back with us tonight for some news.
Real good to be here, Bob. It was real good to see Ralph Williams on the weather again after all this time, too. You know, he wore the same coat he used to wear when I was here. I noticed that.
A lot of people interested in what keeps you busy now.
Well, I'm making television commercials. I do some industrial films and some TV commercials, location film, spots for TV.
And
it's
they're
a lot
really
of
good,
fun.
by the way.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I enjoy doing them.
What's happening in the news tonight?
Well, this is what they gave me to read. Montgomery's busiest roadways are again crowded with Christmas shoppers, but mingled in that snarled traffic are some members of the Alabama Capitol REACT team who are trying to help any motorist who may be in traffic trouble.
39. 39. May I check on traffic? 10-4.
Only the small orange and white sign will give away the identity of a Radio Emergency Associated Citizens Team's member. For the past 4 years, the local REACT team members have volunteered their time and use of their own vehicles to assist the Montgomery Police Department during the hectic holiday season.
We'll be working directly with the police department. We'll be assisting the motorists out on the bypasses, should they run out of gas, have an accident, mechanical breakdowns, directions, and this type of service to the public, which I think is a great benefit to them.
Monitoring the official CB Emergency Channel 9, REACT members will patrol some of Montgomery's busiest roadways, like the southern and eastern bypasses and Atlanta Highway. They'll be in direct communication at all times with the police department's command post on the eastern bypass, just in case they're needed. Sydney Kohara, WSFA TV News.
People coming to an emergency room expect immediate care and good medical treatment. But sometimes hospital efforts are hindered, even in the finest medical facility.
More and more it appears that hospital emergency rooms are being used not only for life and death situations, but for treatment of non-emergency cases. The problem is that more and more people are using the emergency room for treatment of trivial illnesses and routine problems, and often because they do not have regular doctors. What most don't realize is that emergency room fees often are higher than doctors due to the equipment that's required, and visits are not always covered by insurance. In addition, there's usually a long wait because legitimate incoming emergencies will be handled first. Also, the evaluation of an extensive problem is not well handled in an emergency room, and the physician does not attempt a complete examination. Emergency rooms also make no provision for continued care. Many times, problems that are brought to the emergency room are problems that could be taken care of at home or in a doctor's office. So next time you start for the hospital, ask yourself if it's a real emergency, or if you could be taken care of by a doctor or by being seen on a regular admission basis. Ivy Berman, WSFA TV News.
And again, thanks, Charles Caton, for being with us tonight. And you're going to be part of our 25th anniversary program that's called Those Were the Days on Christmas night at 6:30. And you've had a chance to see the film.
I saw the short version of that, and it's very good and it's very interesting. And there are a lot of highlights from years gone by in television, locally and nationally, that are very interesting, and I'd recommend it.
Well, I appreciate all the contributions you made to Channel 12 and our news tradition here, and it's a pleasure having you with us.
Thanks a lot, Bob. It was nice to be back tonight.
Okay, we'll be right back after this.
It's a race with time, a race with the weather. Hectic, exhausting work. It's the American harvest. Everything is on the line. A year's work for the farmer and his family. A bountiful supply of food and fiber for consumers. If all goes well, a time for thanks. Production credit associations are geared to finance a lot of harvesting. Give us a call.
At PCA, we try to give farmers the credit they deserve.
At other stores, this Diamond Buttercup pendant could cost as much as $330. At Wilson's, it's only $197. These beautiful Diamond Buttercup earrings could cost as much as $330 at other stores. Wilson's price, $197. Wilson shops the world's diamond markets to assure you of the highest quality, largest selection, and best possible value. Quality, selection, and value. Wilson's has all three.
Wilson's surprises you again.
I can just about taste those hot and crispy fries.
But don't you eat runners?
Me?
Ernie, where are my Hardee's fries?
Get a free order of regular fries when you purchase any roast beef sandwich at participating Hardee's through December 31st.
Big Bear and Superfoods want you to know how to pick a super turkey. Just pick the Norbest brand. This quality product is USDA Grade A. It bastes itself with flavor, then tells you when it's done with an exclusive built-in tender timer.
Fill out bonus refund certificates and get these super bargains. High top Grade A white or brown large eggs, 1 dozen, 9 cents. Coca-Cola 2-liter bottle, 39 cents. Kraft mayonnaise 32-ounce jar, 59 cents. Gala paper towels jumbo roll, 9 cents.
Superfoods at super prices every day at Superfoods and Big Bear.
Today, more than 800 elderly residents of Montgomery, Autauga, and Elmore counties ushered in the holiday season at the annual Tri-County Christmas Party.
What is it about the holidays that makes so many people smile? Maybe it's the sound of ageless Christmas carols or the general feeling of good cheer. Whatever the reason, several hundred elderly Alabamians know it's the holiday season. At their annual party, there was time to reminisce about the past and look to the future while enjoying the present. The chairman of the Central Alabama Aging Consortium, County Commissioner Mac McKinney, joined in the festivities, presenting $100 silver to 87-year-old Lottie Bobo of Tallahassee. Mrs. Bobo won first prize for her handmade door decoration. There were activities throughout the afternoon, including a chance to try the latest dance steps. Instructors from a local school provided the guidance, while the Bee Gees produced the beat. And believe it when these residents say they're doing more than just staying alive. Paul Roth, WSFA TV News.
Dan Atkinson is standing by with a recap on tonight's weather.
And TV 12's color radar scanning now from Centerville again shows rain still reaching from the northwestern part of the state up around Huntsville down to about Meridian. It's getting closer now to the Tuscaloosa area. The entire rain area is moving slowly to the southeast with a cold front pushing into Alabama. The individual patches of rain are moving to the northeast at about 35 miles per hour. We're in for rain in the Montgomery area, especially tomorrow. The chance tonight is 50%, 80% tomorrow, 60% tomorrow night. Rain should be over Friday as colder air pours in, and the outlook for the weekend is for a mostly fair weather with mild days and cold nights. That's the latest on the weather, Bob.
Thanks, Dan, and that's it for tonight's 6 o'clock report, our expanded report with Ralph Williams and Charles Caton guest hosting with us tonight. Coming up at 10, you'll find out about the beginning of a new census and Charge a Call, a new telephone service. Join us then.
Tomorrow night, we continue with WSFA TV's 25th anniversary celebration series, Fabulous Flashbacks, with Broderick Crawford and Highway Patrol at 6:30. Stay tuned now for Real People next.
Of Christmas, few have the warmth, the brilliance of a Zales diamond. Zales is the world's largest Christmas jeweler, and every gift at Zales has a fire inside that brightens the life of everyone it touches. Touch someone you love with a gift from Zales and light up their Christmas.
No one knows more than the diamond store, Zales.
Here's a great Christmas gift idea from Bargain Town. Boys' 100% acrylic cardigans and pullover sweaters in assorted solid and fancy patterns. They come in V-necks, crew necks, and cardigan styles, an $8 value for just $5.99. And both big and little boys alike will look so smart in these velour shirts in several different styles. Sizes 4 to 7, $4.99 and $5.99. Sizes 8 to 18, just $5.99 and $6.99. So have a very Merry Christmas and save money, too, by shopping at
Bargain Town, USA.
Too long.
A Honda Mini Trail. Have fun this Christmas with a tough, sturdy, dependable Honda Mini Trail from Hunter Honda, Alabama's largest Honda dealer.
This is WSFA, TV 12, Montgomery.
This is NBC.